you to so-called be a spokesman for Black people and African Americans, he's going to do it. So this is why I think it's our job to inform people that, hey, you have to know your heritage. Don't get caught up in the confusion, because if you get caught up in the confusion, then you and your descendants are going to be lost.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. That's very true too, because like like you get the I call them hybrids, but most people call them mixed. But you get these people too as well. Just because they stand up and say some good things for our people doesn't mean that behind the closed doors that they didn't made an agreement with some organization or agency. What I'm saying, to be getting paid to bring in the calming of our people, because it's all brain control if you're into these TV sets or you into this live vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, hell, look at everything that they promote on TV. They want us to mix out. Me and my cousin was talking about this earlier. How they want us to mix ourselves out. So I mean, and I'm not against people who you know are in interracial relationships. I'm not against that at all. But I mean, like, at the same time, damn. If you want something light skinned, try to find something within your race of people first, and then, deal with that last. Don't just give up on your people first. I don't know. But like I said, they promote the gay stuff heavy. They promote interracial. They trying to mix us out. Um, they're just doing a lot of stuff that our people wasn't for, and a lot of stuff, our people was just against and didn't want to assimilate in. Because assimilate just means to copy, to emulate. So you're being a poser, you're being a copycat by, doing what they show you on TV, and that's not having your own mind, and that's
Yeah.
not protecting your heritage and your culture when you copying shit on TV. I'm sorry.
That's the power right there. The heritage part. That's the destruction. The ID and the heritage is what they're after in destruction. So the more that they can grab the heritage and the ID from you, that's like taking your birth certificate and your state ID. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking driver's license. I said state ID, which means that you can be a freed man with state ID and not be tied to the government.
Yeah,
But they are after that state identification of who you are and your heritage, your lineage, and everything that was tied to it. So they'll spend billions of dollars and continue doing it every year to keep us in the dark.
that's
Well,
facts. And
I don't mean to cut you off, but the topic of this thing is really about the ID, because we're talking about ID, which is great, but who decided who was going to become Indians? That's pretty much the topic of this show. So I really want you guys to really horn in on how that is being accomplished today, because we can talk about the past and relatively so put bits and pieces together in a puzzle. But in retrospect, we're also going to have to look at the fact that how so much is affecting us right now, because, let's face it, I think that these multiple IDs they put upon us is to keep us from one thing and one thing only, is rediscovering that somehow, some way, we were tricked into giving up our, as descendants, the land rights and resources. And on Tribe 100, we're going to be talking a lot about that paper, that document, that ink and paper, and that swindle job that took place and who was all involved in that. But what I wanted to focus here today was who now determines who's going to be an Indian as we were going to 2020 and these census where once again we're putting the fate of our people in a foreigner's hands and we're not counting ourselves. And how can we keep falling for that same old trap door? That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about this evening, if you don't mind.
well, we determine ourselves as Indians. We
Indians.
determine ourselves. Yeah. Well, not just as Indians, but know your tribe and your nations. Because you don't want anybody just saying, "Oh, I'm an Indian," but then they don't know any. They're not trying to find out their heritage. Or like me and IMU was talking about, or they don't know what blood type they are. I believe what is it, zero negative, or what was it, IMU, the blood type for the
The blood type for the Western Hemisphere is primarily from
Bro.
island to island is O.
O negative.
It's O positive actually. O
Yeah,
Okay.
negative.
the O
O
negative.
negative
Both of them
actually
though.
looks like it's actually superseded O positive. That's what it looks like. I don't have all the evidence. I'm not a hematologist.
Yeah.
So when we get a hematologist on here, when we get to talking about blood, we're gonna break that down too. We're gonna get
Yeah.
into the AO and the BO and where the B's lie and who came up with what blood types. We're gonna get in that heavily in our different series down the line. But as far as it goes, I mean, we're really talking about always going into getting records and look where we have to get the records from. And the records are so sketchy. And then some of it may not be so conclusive, but what I do know and do know of, the blood is in my veins. There's got to be somebody else somewhere else in this landmass running around with that same type of blood. That's how I would prove who we're kin to. And then if we can get the bones out of the ground, if we were our own archaeologists and got the bones out of the ground, we'd have something to compare it to. That's how I pretty much look at it as.
And then you got to look at it like this. Our ancestors, you know, I said this a lot on my channel. Our ancestors knew, they knew who was who. You know, whether you were an Indian and they had problems with you, or you was another Indian and they got along with you, they knew who was who, and we should be able to know who was who till this day. Because
You
our
know,
people knew who the foreigners were. Go ahead, Zoe.
no, I was finna collaborate on what y'all speaking on. I had mentioned this earlier when I was talking to one of the brothers, brother Joe. Um, they know and we know, and the thing is, even by tribal essence, you can look at people and tell what tribe they're from. You can tell by height, size, shape, and structure, even to the facial structure. So when I was talking to them earlier, I was like, why do you think that they got this facial recognition system going on? Ooh.
Thank you. Exactly. So all these
Mm.
people going around trying to sell that DNA crap, which Ty Data's already proven that's bullshit. I mean, bull crap. I mean, I get a little heated when we get to talk about this. They're trying to determine who we
That's
are, and
so
we need to
whack.
go to somebody else to determine you are. I get a little heated, so y'all have to excuse me using the BS word. But what I'm trying to tell you that, in retrospect, the DNA is not something we go by because the variables they use is not accurate. So the thing of it is, what is accurate is they start saying, okay, so they went to facial recognition. Some people gave Facebook a whole lot of money. I ain't gonna mention who they are because they ain't getting into it with them. But they turned around and made him a very wealthy person so that he can profile people's faces. So why are they doing the phenotype if it wasn't important or isn't important? The body
IAMU.
type, structure, and you're right, man. You're right. But somehow, some way, you know who's who and who's not who. So
Right.
when we gonna start, see, my
IAMU.
thing of it is, before you go on this, I want us to start realizing we need to be collecting this data, not somebody else.
IAMU. I just wanted to say to the chat room, people go and look at the videos on Ricky Kittle. Ricky Kittle is the one that started this nonsense DNA junk. So his name is Ricky Kittle, Kittle. Yeah, we got to put it on the blast. We got to let the people know where to find the stuff we talk about too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. That way, people could see the fraudulent stuff that these people talk about out of their own mouths. You know, because I believe, didn't he say, uh, what did he say, the DNA? What did Rick Kittle say about the DNA? It was
It
zero
was
point.
it was 0.0007%.
Wow, tens, hundreds, thousands. I mean, you see how low that number is.
Very
Hey,
low.
that sounds less than a needle in a haystack.
That's less than the needle in the haystack. Yep.
Right. So once again, but you know what? Some of the things that I think that we as a group of people have failed to realize is that these optics, and I mean by optics, I just don't mean pictorial rise. I mean optics like in propaganda, writing, so-called people who are supposed to be qualified for this and qualified for that. You listen to them, and then the so-called scholarless in academia world want to jump and say, well, my professional guy on this side over here says this isn't his peer review, this isn't, and they're all the same people. They don't never show anybody who is in opposition to what they're saying. And right now, we in our group, what we're declaring ourselves as the descendants of the Western Hemisphere, are reaping a hell of a lot of flack from other groups of people trying to tell us that we're something else, like from another continent, or that we have no standing because we're considering ourselves to be Indians, that we're just making it up because we're on hard times, we need to change our name, or we need to, because we've been to prison, or we've been in trouble with the law, our credit's all messed up. Even if all that's true, that don't take away the fact that we're still these same people that we're here and have always been here. You can't get out of that. You could come up and make that as a point of reference why somebody want to change their name, but that don't mean that that person ain't who they say they are.
Yeah,
I
but
want to
see,
make that clear today.
the thing is, these same people saying who we cannot be, we need to ask them, well, where is your family records? Who are you? Because your family could have just came here 5 years ago, but you sitting up here trying to tell me who I can be and who I cannot be. Who are you? Why aren't you not in your homeland? Just like how I see, some Mexicans out here, flying their flag out here, why can't you do that shit? Why can't you do that stuff in Mexico? Don't try to have pride now that you're here, and then some people bring the Armenian flag. They want to bring all these flags over here. Well, why don't you have pride in your own homeland? Why don't you want to build up your own homeland? But you sitting up here disrespecting our people on our people's land. Because when we go back to the records, this is our people land. Our people have, like I was telling IMU, I have the original allotment. Not the address that says 123 ABC Street. I got the original. I got the original.
Now,
And
you
I
know,
can
you
never.
have to, wait a minute, my brother. You know, you're going to, if you use that term, you got to be able to explain. You can't be in the advanced class when we may have beginners and that intermittent personnel here trying to figure out what you're talking about. So tell them the difference between a deed and a land allotment.
Well, pretty much a deed just means that you're passing on property, but that property necessarily don't belong to you. And especially if you have to pay tax on it. Now with the allotment records, when you have the allotment, the the so-called address on the allotment record is not going to be the address you see today. And I wish I was at the house so I could try to at least show you guys what an allotment record looked like as far as how they describe the location of areas, And with these allotment records, it can never be sold. It could just be passed on to family. It's so many acres of land. That land belongs to the families here.
Yeah,
So
I got my records and it says, oh,
no,
I was gonna say, I got my great granddad's allotment records, and his stuff was signed by the president.
that's deep.
Now, you want to hear something funny? Let me tell you something funny. I bet last week I was going over this Hawaiian trying to remove their annexation to the United States. And they had President Clinton sign in 1993. He signed the resources back over to them an apology. And because the U.S. Military is there, and I said out to all my brother veterans today, happy Veterans Day, and to all my people of this land descendants, happy IPO Day, because Indigenous prisoners of the ongoing war that continues to go on to reclaim our lands. Okay, I'd like to make
Hmm.
that very clear that people understand where IMU is coming from. IMU is measuring unity. So I'm trying to call all of my brothers and sisters who want to be a different faction. And so whatever your belief system is, increase in the belief that this landscapes and from islands to islands and the landmass in between is that of you're the descendants of those people. And stop letting people turn your head around trying to tell you this and you that and you of this and that. If you are of that and you really are, then just like any other foreigner, it's going to come a time that we're going to ask you to leave unless you can benefit what's going to help us restructure uh, the nation of one. We're trying to make a nation of one. You can have your tribe, you can have your other nations. Those are cultural things. But far as actually a ruling, who is going to become the rulers in the coming years to come, it has to be given back to us. And I feel like it's intelligent for them to give it back willingly because they broke the original contract. And if they stand by laws, then they already know they've broken that law. So to me, this is a done deal. But we're going to get that into later shows. But I really want us to understand that this is about unity. And anybody who's against unity and keeps saying that we cannot be unified, they're telling you who they really are and what they stand for and who they work with. And that happened way back then. And those days when that contract was written up, who was actually talking on the behalf of some of us, because some of our ancestors did not agree with the contract to begin with. So then, like I said, we're going to get into that deeper. So let's go back to this whole thing about who decided who is going to be an Indian.
Okay, so go ahead, Zoe.
I was gonna say I just wanted to say something on where we can continue off at where we stopped off at. That facial recognition system. I realized when I did the internal studies on that for months and months that they're separating us now by opportunity with that system. And so we'll find our kids being offered and getting these scholarships, excellent scholarships and stuff, because their plans is to draw our children away from us by giving them back. They would make it seem like they're donating or giving back to us. But in return, what they're doing is drawing our children away from us, knowing that we are on the truth. And certain of us that be in these chat rooms and panels, they're going after our kids by the time they get into high school and college.
That's no different than elementary school. That's the whole thing. They want our children to spend as more time with them than us, and then they're influenced by them. But see, that day is coming to an end, and they gotta know it. I mean, come on, they got all these think tanks. They know the time's running out on this their grasp on this system. They're just trying to figure out how to hang on to it as long as they can by keeping us fighting among ourselves, and that's where we either have to use intelligent survival, or we're gonna just stay, divided and ignorant. So that's why I look at it upon. It's something just that simple.
And then going back to your original question, who determines who's an Indian? Like I was saying, we have to determine that for ourselves by knowing our heritage. We can't rely on the government to give us a name, because it's the same government who is promoting, or who wants us to call ourselves everything else but Indian. So if you're taking on black, if you're taking on Native American, if you're taking on white, Hispanic, those are government names. The government owns those names. But when you use your family's name, like a Choctaw, a Chickasaw, a Seminole, a Creek, a Muskogee, a Hitchiti, when you use your family names, the government don't have power over that because you're written into the laws. So that means the government don't have power over you. So this is why it's so important for you guys to learn Article 1, Section 8, Clause number 3. I'm gonna repeat it again. Article 1, Section 8, Clause number 3. You guys can Google that. And that shows how much power you have. You have just as much, if not more, power than the government. But when you're not operating, and using your family name, then the government has power over you. Just like I know some of y'all, may have jobs, and when you fill out that form, you put black, African American, or whatever else, then they can tax your ass. They can tax you. They know how to handle you because they know that you're not operating within your family name. Point blank, period. Heritage is very important if we're gonna get this job done, which is, uh, kicking a lot of foreigners out, taking back the land, and helping ourselves, helping our people. This is how important this is.
And as for the people that's looking into volunteering for the census, which I'm not going to say is a bad thing, which can be a great thing if people attach themselves to these census correctly.
I agree.
Mark the American Indian box. The American Indian box. That's why I tell people about going to do the SS5 over as if they lost their social security card and re-register their social security card as a non-US citizen able to work in America. Then you go and put under the race, you put American Indian on that same SS5 form.
And
Okay, so here we are. When you get into that, I'm finna Q&A that, because first of all, you're using the term American, and then we here, some of our brothers and sisters in the awareness community have created the First American Council, and they have a declaration that they're trying to circulate for people to be aware of as a grievance upon the system today. Shout out to Libra Sun, and Chief Holiday and Kai Data, who are the the inner workings of trying to get that brought to the light of day, the First American Council. So, and oh yeah, I wanted to bring up too, Matt. Can you tell us about the organization in which that you represent as well? Can you say that right quick for us?
I represent the American Indian Council, and what the American Indian Council deals with American Indian issues. You know, not only heritage, but we have to learn about business because there's many of us who want to start businesses, right? So,
Right,
in
right.
order to start businesses, you need to learn laws that's going to protect your business. See, when you start a business, it will be totally different from someone who is black, starting a
Or a
business.
citizen, because we're really talking about the fact that
That's it.
we
Yeah,
are not or should not be labeled as citizens.
I totally agree. I
Yeah,
totally
and that
and I'm
our people don't understand, whether it's due to apathy, complacency, or comfortability. We're caught in that dog chasing his tail. What in the hell are these guys talking about? But we're talking about what was put forth as you would never to be under the thumb of the people you help come over here and have livelihood. It was never meant for them to take over anything. And somehow, some
exactly.
way, they think this is acceptable behavior and it would continue forever. And we're trying now, and once again, that's why I don't know if I'm really all in on the census thing, because I don't think they need to be counting us, because we're not supposed to be citizens. They need to count the citizens and then bring that information to us. And then we're supposed to be the ones that determine what to do with that information. But somehow, some way, they got it twisted. And and you can see that's the reason why when we get to talking about the Constitution on Tribal 100, I'm only going to be talking about the Constitution for the first paragraph, and I'm only going to be talking about who's who and what's what. But I kind of want to do this show as an introductory on some people, as my brother Zoe and my brother Aboriginal Mac is just going to, they're going to lay this stuff down for people to say, hey, look, this is the awareness community. We're going to wake everybody up. So get ready to wipe off your cobwebs. And if you need a new pair of glasses, we're gonna be issuing them out too. And for those who think they're up on the speed, we're gonna give you that bottle of ketchup so you can go ahead and tell other people where we all need to go eventually, so we can retain the landscapes which were taken from us by ink and paper. It
By
was reinforced
by
by
that, but
canon, but it was taken by paper.
yeah, by theft, lies. That's how it was taken because they couldn't whip us in the physical war. They couldn't whip
Right.
us. They had to sit up here and lie to us in these schools. I mean, that the loser had to sit up here and convince you were the loser, or you didn't have no participation in creating everything that was established here.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
a
propaganda, and that's the propaganda and the optics behind. That's the reason why they wanted us to go to their schools, and we allowed that to happen. There's so much that we allowed to happen that we have to take back that power. That's one time. That's sometimes when I hear Chief Holiday talk about power. I wish he would really go back into it more deeply on us taking about the smaller things that gave them power over us in the core of our family and the mindset of our
That's
offspring.
that's what I wanted to speak on as far as the power is in the private person, the natural person, not the artificial sit in ship. So when you mention like citizen, when you guys mentioned citizen earlier, citizens are foreigners. And citizens that came here for citizenship, you got to realize what the word citizenship is. It's sit in ship. They traveled here. So
yeah.
when you look at the word citizenship, sit in ship, it's the same word as citizenship. And that's what is really telling you. And even some of the governors in the early 2000 elections, some of them slipped up and said that you colored Americans can't be citizens. But they had to retract that and delete all the videos. But they actually were
Well,
getting,
there was one guy, there was one senator in whatchamacallit, he had to try to recant that, but it was already out. And
it was
I don't
already
think
out.
he's in office anymore because,
No,
he was trying to
he
say that and
resigned.
his conscience opened his mouth.
Yeah, he resigned. He resigned. And the reason that I brought that up is because if you are still under citizenship, you still are under an artificial person, which you have no power because you think you have privileges, but you have no control of any governing affairs. So as our people start understanding that, once we start looking into the private person and the natural person, we will more understand, not just understanding our tribe and our bloodline, but we'll understand the governing power we need to get back and attack our tribal issues and our inheritance.
Well, just imagine if we already know our heritage, and then we exercise the law, which is supposed to be the supreme laws of this land, pertaining to commerce and just business, period. So if we know that Indians regulate commerce with Congress, then we are a sovereign people here. So what do we need to do?
Facts.
Why do we need to vote? Who are we voting for? We don't need to go to nobody about our issues
Right.
when we can sit on our own. You already got the juice. And the government, they need the juice. That's why they're using us. That's why they lied to us. That's why they want us, to fight in their wars, to join their military. You ain't got to do none of that. Once you know
That's
the
why they
information
keep
that
us
they're going to,
around.
you said what happens though?
I said that's why they keep us around, because our God energy inside of us is the energy that can only keep them going.
Exactly. That's why they still got us. They could bring over all these foreigners all they want to. But guess who they got promoting the clothing line, the shoes, the dance? Like I remember when I was a kid, I didn't see no Asians break dancing and all this other stuff. I didn't start seeing that into the 2000s.
You
Right.
guys, I don't want to go too far off track because I really want to stay on this topic about who decided who was going to be Indians and even how that pertains to today. Because when it comes down to it, we have a group of people that are trying to get some of our people to accept that they're Pan Africans, some to express that they think um, that they're Moors, and it's a constant inner battle, and it's an SHIT storm coming, an IDSIT storm coming. I'm going to do a video on it when I break it down, where I use facial recognition. I'm going to be using a phenotype. I'm going to be using culturals. I'm going to be using TPs. I'm going to be using totem poles. I'm going to show cultures. I'm going to break this down so far that when people say that we're not the people of this land, from sea to sunny sea, and from the islands, that we're really the same descendants of the Western Hemisphere, from the top of Canada to the tip of South America, that this was all one landmass that was our people, until it was the mass murders took place, the genocide, and all the harm that was done to us, and somebody has to pay for that. You're not going to get off. You can't pay the Jews $4 million or $4 billion a year and think it's okay when you were supposed to be doing business in the name of the people, the descendants, and you turn around and you usurp and take everything over, turn around and start paying other nations money while we sit here and suffer as supposed to be low caste, no class citizen. And you look at Native Indians where they've got reservations, and there are Indian groups who are not federally recognized that
We
have
can't call
land.
them Native Indians, though. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, IMU. We can't call them Native Indians. They are Native Americans. They are who they say they are. Those are
Okay.
Native
And
Americans.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I wanted to make sure nobody was sleeping. That's exactly it. When we say, that's why I use the term, that's why I was wanting to bring this to the light of day, that they call themselves Native Americans, and that's a reason. But somehow, some way, the optics, they try to push them off as being Native Indians. And that's a whole different topic. And looking at who's native this and who's native that, who's the descendant of this and descendant of that. That's why I was going to say the IDSHIT storm is coming, and I'm going to present it on a lengthy video. It's going to probably be a three-part. I want to say also thanks to Cormel, who's given out a lot of good information that he has done. And there's other people. We're waking up. The thing of it is, can we unite? Can we become something that actually changes back the hands of time to where we now are the ones handling the resources, telling who's what. It is the so-called American government corporation going to succeed that they're falsely in charge. That's going to be the thing, because this is a peaceful revolution. It's really based on, hey, look, do you guys actually want to be in command of your resources? Nay or yay? Well, we have Ty Data who just stepped in. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Ty, and tell them about the latest things going on with you, and then we'll get back to the topic at hand about who decides who's going to be Indians. Go ahead, Ty.
Hey, how you doing? What up, Zoe? Project Tomahawk building. Original Mac.
What's up, Todd?
Council. What's up, man? How y'all doing?
All right.
I.A.M.U, the elder. I'm with the kids right now, so I just want to drop by, show some love. I'm gonna try to get them settled down so I can join the conversation. But right now, I just want to come show some love. I'm listening. But it's gonna be loud back here, so I'm gonna jump in when I, if I can.
Okay. Well,
No
going back to what you were saying, IMU, about who determines who's Indian. Now, you name some names like Pan Africans. You name the Moors. Now, what have these people or these groups accomplished in the last 100 years? Matter of fact, we don't even have to go to the last 100 years. Let's go to the last 50 years. What have they done to say that, hey, this is the right way to go? We're seeing much success as Pan Africans or Moors. What have they done?
Most of them have made memberships, and in those memberships, they've sold books and trinkets and things of profiteering. As far as moving us from out of the parking lot or down the street in the parking lot, we're not even nowhere near the game. So the thing of it is, to me, that's just a nice organized hustle, and it's no different than the pole pip. And I'm sorry to tell you, Farrakhan, your
So
time is up
last
too.
50 years,
I
last
mean, I'm
50
not gonna
years
tell
they
you,
did nothing.
Farrakhan and all you preachers on the pulpit, we're coming for you guys. And I hate to tell you this, but when we start arriving at your churches and start telling you that we're gonna take up your churches and you're gonna sign your 501Cs over to us, and a lot of people think that might be some ludicrous insanity talk, but we'll see. We'll see how insane it is when them people find out that these guys are living better than the people that they send up there running that same old 365 days out of the year stuff out of a book. I'm not
Like,
against the Bible. I want people to understand something. I'm not against the Bible because there are great stories in it. But what I'm against is the fact that somebody's standing up there living better than the people that you're speaking to. That's what I'm
well, my thing is, IMU, let's just say, for example, we have Choctaw people, right? And these Choctaw people subscribe to being Hebrews and following the Bible faithfully. And they even say Jesus is their Lord and Savior. Well, I will question those people and tell them, well, have you read the Bible, the Indian Bible? Have you read the Choctaw Bible? And once you read the Choctaw Bible, because in the Choctaw language, there's no J's. So how can you say Jesus is your Lord and Savior where in the Choctaw language, there's no J's? Jesus don't exist in the Choctaw Bible.
Yeah, but that's part of the miscommunication of a horrible translation in most cases. Most of that stuff is terrible translations. So, we're going to get into that. This is what's going to be part of Origin, is getting to the bottom line, because we're going to be investigators, not researchers. We'll leave the researcher to the academiacs who want to sit up there and do
And
their,
scratch the
uh,
surface.
their mental masturbation that they do among themselves and pound and see, show how smart they are from something when somebody wrote and somebody wrote and somebody wrote, never checking who was the author or the publishing company and the ties to the publishing company. We ain't gonna do that. We're gonna investigate the terms and the words, and this is what this platform is gonna be about. Investigate. Go ahead, my brother.
So, oh yeah, well, you already know we're going to investigate. We're going to excavate. We're excavators. While these people, like you said, these researchers are just barely scratching the surface. I mean, we're doing the groundwork and bringing something to the people where these so-called researchers can't bring. They're lazy. To me, I think these researchers are very lazy. They just piggyback off of each other's information without doing their own research anyway. So, like you said, there's going to be major heat coming to this channel.
Absolutely. I mean, our ladies are going to come on. We're going to host something for just our ladies to come on. And we're going to give, for me, I look at it as that we've gone through 3 stages in the cycle. It was her story, and that's that matriarchal. Then his story, which is you know, patriarchal, and then we're going to get into our story, which balances the scale, and we're going to measure unity that way. So you guys look forward to some of this coming. We only have like maybe another 15 minutes of broadcasting, and then just to let you guys know, I talk to these brothers in depth offline. We talk about a lot of great subjects. Now we're ready to bring this to you guys' attention to the utmost. I'm sorry, we got another 30 something minutes. So any which way it goes. Oh, I want to tell you guys, I'm sorry I didn't get the opening of it. I hit the button late. So you guys bear with me. If you don't, can you guys just for a moment go ahead and reintroduce yourselves? Aboriginal Mac, and so Hustle, talk about a little bit about how you came to this beginning. Both of you, I didn't get it. I hit the button too late. Excuse me for that. And so please mention your Tomahawk project. Okay, don't forget to do that. Go
All
ahead.
right. Well, I was going to go back onto, you know what I'm saying, the point of who determines identity, who us being Indians and stuff like that. It starts with you, and then you look internally, and then you follow the paper trail. And after you look internally, and then you realize it, and go and talk to your elders, you know, that's in your lineage, and get answers from them, you know, that you are tied to a tribe. Then you start doing the paper trail. You know what I'm saying? And it got a lot of titles to the styles of paper trail, but I just say paper trail to be basic. But also, you know, start getting yourself and prepared on studying law, you know, because law is going to be important on this journey. It's very powerful knowledge too in law that's going to be effective. So we will need a lot of people to know law in order for us to be able to build a nation that can actually have jurisdictions and governing power, because we will have the comprehension and the competency to be able to acknowledge. And as King AS-KING will be telling them exactly what we're demanding. So, you know, to understand who's given the privilege to denounce who call us Indians or anything, it starts with us individually, and then we got to work out.
I agree. I totally agree. And to piggyback off of what Zoe said, it's very important to learn the law. I mean, it's not even a lot of laws when you think about it. You know, it's not no UCC type of stuff that these Moors and other people try to sell you, and you need to be careful of that. When they try to sell you this UCC and sovereign citizen stuff, be very careful. If anybody is telling you to do anything and outside of being Indian and representing your nation, your tribes, that's a red flag already. That's how you can tell who is real and who is fake. Because the real is going to tell you, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you protect your businesses, your property, yourself, your kids, you know, your money. Like this is how you protect everything when you operate using your heritage. You know, so don't let these dudes tell you, you know, you got to have a Moorish ID, and you know they're just putting you back in servitude, not servitude, but they're having you
More
subject to the
contracts.
jurisdiction of the United States.
Yeah.
Exactly, contracts.
Yep.
Yep, because the Moors are subject to the United States. They are subjects. And, you know,
Okay,
and
hold up. You can't make that statement without expounding. Because right now it seems
okay,
like we are taking in a barrage from our Moorish brothers and sisters who feel like they should be in control of our land resources and that we are supposed to be subjugated to them. Now, I don't know how in the hell can somebody come across some water and tell us what is and what is not going to be. So I think they just think they want to take their turn in whatever agreement, because I got a letter that was sent to me from Chief Wilhelmina, a letter that George Washington wrote to His Majesty of Morocco, talking about an side agreement he made with them, dissolving the agreement with us. That's on the DL, and that's going to come out on Tribe Up 100. Okay. Oh, and I want to make one other announcement right quick. I want to let you guys know the Tribe Up is actually going to be an organization. We're going to be filing paperwork for all those who want to be part of an organization. Because look, we're talking about hunting down paperwork. We're going to have people who are going to do that for people, because we know people are working every day do not have the ability to do so. So we're going to try to organize something to get that done. And we look forward for people who know how to do the hunt to be on the hunt again. We have never left the hunt. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, I wanted to
okay.
expound a
So
little bit.
Oh, go ahead, Zo.
But I just wanted to expound a little bit on the point of the Moors that's speaking. The people that want to speak on the Moorish science, because it's only a science, it's not an actual people. Now, people that want to speak on the Moorish science need to do more research about what invented this Moorish science and what invented these so-called people of Northwest Africa to be considered themselves a Moorish science people to come to America and try to take control. So, like he mentioned, the treaty with the Moroccans, that's the treaty that is giving the United States the opportunity to be a corporation here in America, period. And Moroccans are not Moors, but the Moors claim to be American. And that's the confusion that even the Moors of America is getting confused with themselves. Look at what Noble Dre Ali had taught. He taught Moorish science. He didn't teach a Moorish nation of people.
Yeah, and not only that, see, and this is where the Moors keep saying, "Oh, we are the mothers and fathers of the original people of the Americas." Well, how is that possible when the your Moorish creator, your Moorish leader, was an Indian who taught you? So how can you be above the Indian when the Indian taught you? And he was a treasonous Indian, but he still taught them. And then
Fact.
on top of that, the Moors sit up here and talk about how much power they have, and they always want to bring up the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. But the Treaty of Peace and Friendship don't give you no power. It says that you are subjects to an emperor. You are a subject to an emperor or emperors.
So that ain't got nothing to do with us.
Man, they ain't got
Let's make it
nothing
clear
to us,
because
and they
I
don't
want
have no
all those,
power.
because it seems like to me the Moorish Science Temple is different than the Moors who are talking this other stuff. They're like two different entities to me because
Yeah.
one is based upon something that deals with the structure of the Moroccan Empire, and the other one is just somebody trying to tell you about a whole lot of etymology and what words mean and this and that. You know, they're trying to break down that, and then all of a sudden they're like saying, "Do you know we had that agreement that we were supposed to, run things over here for y'all?" But that agreement, they've never even showed me that agreement.
Hey,
I am
hey, IMU. Let me say something real quick. My bad, brother,
no
Mac.
good. It's good.
IMU. This should be going out to everybody, all of our original American Indians. We need to research that Zodiac Constitution. It's called Zodiac Constitution. It was a Moorish nation constitution that was designed with the Britons. And so when they talk that Moors being original Americans, we finna expose this. We're not finna play with y'all. And we're not finna even cover none of that. But it's a constitution called the Zodiac Constitution.
Now look, see, and the Moors, oh man, they're gonna hate this. But we have to get rid of we gotta get rid of all the negative people, all the people causing confusion. We're gonna smash this shit. We're gonna get rid of this shit because there's no more playing games now. We drawing a line. And these people are going against the laws of the land. They're helping the foreigners. And they so dumb they don't understand that. They don't want to tap into
Facts.
their heritage. They don't want to look, when you read the laws of the land here, it's for you. It's not for
It's for the
Moors. It's not for
corner,
Pan
brother.
Africans. It's not for so-called white people. It's for you. It's for you. Because it's talking about Indians having power to regulate commerce with Congress. And then it says that these are the supreme laws of the land. So whenever you see these foreigners coming over here, whenever you see all these things happening and they shouldn't be happening, it's all because it's a design to confuse you. And that's what the role the Moors been playing a part of. I don't care if they say, well, I'm not we're not the Moors from Morocco, we the Moors from here. I don't care what they say. It's causing confusion and they are lying. And the same thing goes for the Hebrews too. Because I've been breaking down the Indian Bible and you Hebrews, I'm coming for your ass too. So I'm giving y'all a chance. Deal with your heritage and work with your people. Work with our Indian people. Because I'm gonna come chop that shit up like how I chopped up the Moors. There's no more playing. There's no more bullshitting.
It's no more.
Exactly. No, no more.
No more.
I see we're coining something here. No more, or no more, or more, and any more, or no, or more, none of that stuff. So, and like I've been saying, my brothers here is really simple. I've been saying that don't make no sense, or that don't make sense is really what I'm coining. If it don't make sense, we just gonna sit up here and start, throwing it out with the bathwater. We're gonna keep the baby, but the bathwater gotta go. That's how it's gonna go from now on. If it doesn't hold, it doesn't have any evidence, it doesn't have any intangibility, it doesn't have any clarity or transparency, it's gotta go.
No, we
Well,
gonna first before it go though, we gonna take it and pin it down with them 4 pins like you take your first project in science, that little frog you get to cut open. We gonna take it and put it on that little board and spread it out with 4 corners, and then we gonna just go ahead and just pick away each corner, bit by bit by bit, little by little, until it's
mm-hmm,
all open.
mm-hmm.
But I must say one thing, and let's make something clear. So we're not doing no chest pounding and doing no bravado thing. Where other organizations do have us beat at this moment is because they can actually regulate exchange of commerce of goods and services. Well, we're here to tell you that's about to change. We have ways of doing and getting it together to do it the proper way to take care of our community. My brother Ty Data and 5,000 Elite are doing their best to get at least 5,000 people, and we're going to change the world. Okay, we're going to change our world. With remember, the United States government or the United States was supposed to be doing business as a liaison, as an international commerce on our behalf with us as overseers. They reneged on that deal, and all of a sudden they wanted to become not the overseers. They did not want us to be the overseers. They wanted to be overseers of us. And
And had
somehow
the nerve
they wormed themselves into that.
and had the nerve to call themselves, the trustees, and we the beneficiaries, and all that's changing, baby. All that's changing because the supreme laws of the land says so. It says Indians are to control things, not to be beneficiaries. We're not no beneficiaries unless it's dealing with our people. But to the United States, we're not no beneficiary to no United States. They're not no trustee. The laws don't say that. Not the supreme law.
And that's the biggest thing right now. When Zoe talks about the law, and you speak about the laws of the land, when we start digging in that whole thing about trust, it's going to unravel at that point. That's going to be the end of the BS when we get to digging in that. And because Chief Wilhelmina, she constantly talks about her family's trust, or the trust in her name or individual's name, because this is what they kept us from, because they've actually been keeping the trust from us, and they try to make us citizens so that we cannot collect the trust. Because let's face it, there's a
Exactly.
lot of rich people walking around here. They don't have no money. They just sign their name. What's that all about?
That's that super account that makes you worth $1 million when you're born. Well, it starts at 650,000, then up to $1 million. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
but not as
saying?
a citizen though.
But peep this. Now, it doesn't go to citizen until the voluntarily acts start happening. And that's like going into the social security card and all that. That's where the citizenship, the artificial person is all created to have a location for account.
So
So
tell
when
me
you
something. How come all these great financial groups that brothers and sisters that look like us in these financial groups don't turn around and say, "Hey, you guys, let me help you get your trust. Let me show you where your real money is at." How come they not doing that? How come they turn around and sit up there and saying, "Well, you need to go pay your taxes. You need to be a good citizen. What the hell's wrong with them?"
Because they are being educated just like the lawyers. When you go to
I
a,
was
I,
just say
I, I
that.
yeah, I kid y'all not. I swear to God, if you guys, and I know this for a fact because I'm in a situation. Well, let me tell you about what happened last year. So I started gathering my family records and the land allotments and stuff like that, and I was calling up lawyers, and the lawyer, and I would say, "Hey, do you know anything about constitutional law?" And the lawyers were saying, "Well, what is that?" I'm like, well, what you mean? What is that? You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about the Constitution. So
Nope.
what they're doing is exactly what they're doing is they're teaching the lawyers, these attorneys, codes, U.S. codes,
Yep.
U.S. codes. Look, man, look. If
In
these U.S.
sections.
codes, exactly. These U.S. codes, these USCs, do not supersede the Constitution. They use the U.S. codes to entrap us, lock us up, and take from us. And this is because we don't know our heritage and we don't know the laws of the land. That's supposed to protect us from these USC codes. And
What
then
they,
they get us by going to the superior courts. Their superior courts are inferior courts.
yeah,
So when we go to the superior courts, you notice how you can go in there for a traffic ticket, right? So when you go in there for a traffic ticket, they tell you to sign away your rights. Give up your rights. Just sign away your rights.
Well, we have no business in that course to begin with. That's where it's fundamentally a misconception or a horrible translation, a miscommunication of horrible translation. Because bottom line is, we ain't got no business on it. If they want to talk to us, they got to go to our Supreme Court. Yes, so our Supreme Court
Exactly.
doesn't exist. So we have to create a Supreme Court of our own and talk to their Supreme Court, because they ain't got no business talking to us about a goddamn thing.
No, the thing is, our Supreme Court exists. The thing is, what goes on in the Supreme Court don't happen. See, the Supreme Court uses the Constitution. The Superior Court, aka the inferior courts, those are the state courts,
Yeah,
private courts.
but that's the Supreme Court of the United States. That's not our Supreme Court.
Oh yeah, okay. So I get what you're saying. Wait.
Yeah,
You talk about
I'm talking about who represents our greater interest should be our own Supreme Court. So there's no need for us to go into no city, county, state, federal, any of them goddamn courts. That
those
don't
are
apply to us. That only they're trying to convince us that it applies to us because they're trying to convince us we're citizens. So we
okay.
remove
So
ourselves
listen.
from that equation, then it would not apply to us. As a matter of fact, I don't care. We ain't citizens anyway. That's some bullshit. I mean, some BS.
Okay, so listen.
You know.
If we were here first, and a lot of this stuff was already established, including the Supreme Court, then that means our people created it. We have something to do with it. The thing is, it's the wrong people that's in there operating. So
Or
we have
under
to
the
get our
wrong auspices. If they're under the wrong interpretation of the law, then that means that they've been told the wrong interpretation. Like I said, it's a miscommunication of a horrible translation. So if we can get these translations corrected, then and it will take us accumulating a committee of our own people to address them about, hey, you're not going according to this right here, and if you continue to do this, you're fraudulent according to your own law.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's their law because they're using the United States.
Right. So once again, they are fraudulent because this is what we gave them to operate, and it isn't their law. It's our law, which means they're breaking our
Because,
laws. So that makes them a
exactly.
criminal.
Exactly. I think we're saying the same thing, but saying it differently.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we
What I
can't
was
get
trying
these
to do is
confused.
I was trying to connect the dots for those
Yeah,
who think that they should be good citizens, that you were never meant to be a citizen.
But y'all know
yeah. So
y'all gonna make the Muslims mad because they are breaking all laws, all laws.
what it, what the thing is with the Muslims, you know, that's a United States organization as well. So you're subjected to the United States. And for anybody that's saying, well, the Muslims they did this, the Muslims they did that. The Muslims, if they stop getting funded from the United States, the Muslims, they will be no more. They will be no more. The
No
Muslims is no.
more. Hold on. No more.
They no different than the KKK, another United States organization. So you got to be careful, identifying with these organizations because they're just United States subsidiaries. They belong to the United States, and they're here to cause confusion. So just imagine if our people say, you know what? Let me put this Muslim religion to the side. Let me focus on my heritage. Let me focus on helping the race, our race. That's going to
Anybody
destroy
who knows anything,
the
I mean, I hear you, Aboriginal man. Anybody who knows me well, when we talk about race, I usually don't. I figure if you can amalgamate with somebody, it's just one living, people walking around here. But I will attest to this when you say race, for me, it is a race between intelligence and ignorance. And right now, we're living in a world crammed full of ignorance and apathy. And we used empathy to allow this to happen to us as a group of people. And it's time for us to, thicken our skins up and say enough is enough. And we're still here. We've never left. So they can keep on making all these labels on the mayonnaise jar, trying to call us Negroes, Black, African American, Rainbow, whatever the hell they want to come up with. I'm sure to be a new thing come up in the next 5 years, right after the census, they'll come up with something new. It's just the way it's going to be until we just say enough is enough. So until we actually assemble a group of elders that can turn around and create like the first Americans, if we can get these people as elders to be now create our own supreme persons who understand these laws that are not been um, adhered to correctly, and challenge it and do it in an open forum. Because the thing of it is this is going to be very embarrassing for the power structure. But what has to be has to be. Now we're not doing anything about going and doing no terrorist stuff, because the terrorism has happened to us. I just want to let you guys know we are within the next 4 minutes, and we're going to kind of do a little bit of closing statements because this is just round one. We'll be going to round two. We'll be going the same time next Sunday if you guys like, because I think this is very important. So let's try to get into our closing things, and then we're going to wrap it up. But go ahead, Aboriginal Mac, tell them what you're up to right now with your organization, and Zoe, you go with yours. And I don't know if Ty Data be able to make it in time, but he's dealing with his on-screen, his children. That's more important than what we were talking right now, because he's got to spend that quality time with his children. Go ahead, my brother, Aboriginal.
Well, outside of me, taking care of kids, um, working, going to school and stuff like that, I also, in my spare time, help people with their court cases. There's many people who listen to me who can vouch that I've been helping them. I've been typing stuff up. Um, they've been seeing changes, positive changes, and I've been helping them with their heritage and helping them with the law. So those are the things that I do in my spare time, and I also get help from relatives with assisting people, and and just bettering the people, on a business level, on the heritage level, on a financial level, and that's what I'm here for. This is my duty. This is my calling.
Okay, go ahead, Zoe. You can go ahead for 30 seconds to a minute. Give us your spiel and tell us about your expertise. And please tell us about the Tomahawk Project. People in our awareness community need to know this.
Well, my name's Zoe Hustle, Zoe Taylor, all across the internet. I'm a marketing expert, a master carpenter, um, you know, um, a law lover. I love law. I'm working on a project right now. We actually at a point where we got the location and all to kick off. We got support from the mayor and the mayor's assistants. They all want to tie in, and it's called the Indigenous Institute of Arts and Skilled Trade Center, and it's going to be teaching our people how to become certified and licensed in certain degrees. It offers GED testing, and the classes will be open also for the people coming out of prison on parole and probation. That'll be tied into it, so we'll be helping our people to a complete max. So that's what I got going on right now, and we're looking forward to trying to get that going in 2020.
All right, that's cool. Now, I'm I.A.M.U of I.A.M.U Nation and of one. And my thing of it is that I am the veteran. I'll be dealing with veterans in our community as a whole. And also, my main thing is to help people start understanding how to become self-sufficient using intelligent survival skills, making sure you have your emergency rations together. I'm going to be operating a program called KEEP. Um, and with that, that's for the youth. Hopefully, I'll be running with our matriarchs, 20 for 20 under 20 for the youth, so that they understand what it is, how to start off life properly, not get behind the eight ball. Those are the things that we're going to be working with. I want to say thank you to everyone who will listen to this. Get something positive out of it. We're going to be signing off. We have 10 seconds. And Zoe, please end our 10 seconds the proper way.
Well, I would say the end of the 10 seconds, the proper way is to say peace and bliss.
Yeah, y'all know. Okay, here it is. We are a wrap. This is Originals, All Stars, and People. Believe it or not, we are here and we're going to give you everything you need to know to get on the right track. Thank you for listening and have a safe and careful rest of your day and tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Take care.
Peace.
Hello?
Hey Ty, we're off the air, Ty.
Oh, it says it's live.
No, man, we are. Oh shit, it does say that. I didn't end it. I'm gonna have to clip this sucker now.
Oh,